These teenagers just ruined their lives because of a TikTok prank at their university. Well, what was the prank? Allegedly, they ran into the cafeteria pretending to hold a gun and started yelling threats and commands. There's no words for how stupid that is. Like, they straight up did a school prank and then blamed it on a TikTok trend. I've covered a lot of stupid trends throughout my years of doing this, but that might be the dumbest thing I've covered in a very long time.
2 UConn students allegedly implied they had a gun at a dining hall. Now, UConn says both students were arrested yesterday, saying they were recreating a viral TikTok video. NBC Connecticut's Melissa Cooney joins us live in stores with student reaction and more. Melissa?
That's right, Kevin. Police say the students were arrested on charges of conspiracy to commit a threatening act and a breach of peace. We spoke with other students here on campus, say that this was concerning to experience and to hear about.
Oh boy. Okay, so threatening to act charge, that could be up to 1 year in jail or a fine of $2,000. And the breach of peace could be anything from a couple months in jail all the way up to 5 years in Connecticut. And that is not all the charges, since apparently more have dropped since this was aired.
Disruption in a busy UConn dining hall.
I heard that friends were in there and it was scary for them to know that that could happen. Even though it was fake, it's still nerve-wracking.
This is insane. It's not really funny.
Police say Nathaniel Gez and Tan Bao allegedly recorded themselves yelling commands in the dining hall and implying they had a firearm. The situation caused a stir, many taking to social media to share their concerns. Police say the two were reenacting a viral video. Some students say they have no idea what they were recreating.
I haven't heard of any trends like that.
Others have seen the supposed original video, but still find the situation concerning.
I think it was a little misunderstood, but again, I'm not condoning the behavior or anything. I think doing that in a crowded dining hall with hundreds of students eating is pretty much a pretty bad idea.
Yeah, that is a terrible idea. Like, no matter how you look at that, there's no question about it. That was a terrible idea. I don't know what the upside of this prank would be. Like, you know, considering the real thing they're imitating here is every student's worst nightmare. This one just has me baffled. Like, this is just and this is some peak stupidity that's going on here.
We live in a time of zero tolerance for any kind of violence in schools or on campuses. So, unfortunately, they don't stop to think about these things.
William Carbone is the director of the University of New Haven's Youth Justice Institute. He says people recreating videos and faux threats are becoming increasingly more common due to social media. He says this is a good time for parents to talk with their young adults about differentiating what they think is funny and the consequences that could come from what they say is a misunderstanding.
It's shocking you have to say these things. Like, anything that has to do with an active shooter anywhere is not something you mess around with. That is quite literally how you die. All it takes is a bunch of people to misunderstand your prank, which happened right here, and a hero can take you out. Or you get criminal charges, which is what happened here. This is, oh my goodness. I can't believe how stupid this is.
Doesn't mean that they should be marked for the rest of their life. But at the same time, it has to be taken seriously because you never know when they really have some kind of a weapon.
And UConn says they can't share if disciplinary action are being taken against the students, but they do say, generally speaking, when students do something to violate the safety of other students, they could be subject to something like expulsion. Now the two are back in court next week.
What was really the goal here? Was the goal a funny TikTok? Really? I get they're both young and they're definitely at the age of, you know, doing stupid stuff and learning the hard way. For most people, though, that doesn't mean facing several years in jail. And for this prank, they're gonna get what's coming for them. Because the details currently are, Dan Bao, he's apparently 18 from Vernon, Connecticut. He's been charged with second-degree breach of peace. First degree, threatening and displaying a firearm, and conspiracy to commit first-degree / threatening / displaying a firearm. Then you have Nathaniel over here, Nathaniel David Gez, 18 of Penn Valley, Pennsylvania, so he's out of state. He's been charged with second-degree breach of peace and conspiracy to commit a first-degree / threatening or displaying a firearm. So, Threatening / displaying a firearm, that has a mandatory minimum sentence of 1 year in prison and can range all the way up to 10 years. If convicted, obviously. These guys are innocent until proven guilty. But what a stupid thing to do. These guys straight up effed around and ruined their lives with this. So, they were arrested a couple weeks ago and have since been released on a $50,000 bond. Bao is accused of being the person who pretended to hold the gun while Gez recorded all of it. In a written statement, UConn said the federal privacy laws prohibits it from discussing if they face discipline. In quote though, however, generally speaking, any students who are believed to have engaged in behavior that causes safety concerns and or disrupts regular operation may face student code of conduct reviews and can be subject for sanctions up to including expulsion. So what are the tuition costs of University of Connecticut? In-state, $21,000. Out of state, $43,000. Imagine paying $43,000 a year, since at least one of them is out of state, to have your kid kicked out because he did an alleged TikTok active shooter prank. I feel so bad for their parents. If their parents weren't paying for their college and they were getting loans for this and then they got expelled, that's on them. Or if they got a scholarship for this and then got expelled. I mean, every single case is just terrible here. But apparently there's some more details to this.
After allegedly reenacting a viral TikTok video in a school cafeteria, witnesses say it looked as if they were pretending that they had a gun and ordered people onto the ground.
No way did they yell everybody on the ground. I'm honestly surprised they didn't get shot or tackled and violently beat up. I guess lucky for them this happened in Connecticut and not in the South. While most campuses have no gun policies, there's likely plenty of people who still risk it for self-defense. And again, all it takes is a hero to misunderstand the situation and they wouldn't be here anymore. What an incredibly stupid thing to do.
Good morning, Keith. And things are much calmer this morning than they were last night. Students that we spoke with describing this as a very realistic looking mock shooting that happened right on the campus in the dining hall.
I heard a lot of yelling. I think some kid had pretended to have a gun in his hand. He was just yelling at this other kid to put his hands up or get down, something along those lines.
You just heard from Luke Bohan. That's a UConn freshman who is in the dining hall at the time that this all happened. Police saying that this is a viral social media trend where students reenact a shooting inside a crowded school cafeteria. Bohan describes some students, quote, shrugging it off, while others were, quote, frozen in fear.
There is no way this is a new viral trend. I haven't heard of this until now. And I've been covering all TikTok stupidity since 2018. I basically have a PhD in TikTok stupidity. I actually have 1 year. I'm 1 year out. I'm 1 year away from studying this stuff to have a PhD in TikTok stupidity. Which I'll put a plaque behind me. Put one of these what are these called? The little signs here. PhD in TikTok stupidity here, and the plaque behind there. I'm gonna print one out.
Police say Tan Bao walked into the dining hall and held a cell phone in a two-handed shooter stance and then began yelling at students at their tables. And Nathaniel Gaz was recording it all on his cell phone. He was also yelling aggressively at students. Both of these students have been charged with several crimes, including a felony for threatening. Police are taking this very seriously. They've set bond at $50,000, and these two students are due in court on the 21st. Live in stores this morning, Brittany Taylor, News 8.
Oh man, this generation really is cooked if they thought this was a good idea. Was the prank actually just haha, we didn't have a gun, you got pranked, everybody on the ground. Psych, we don't have a gun, you got pranked for TikTok. What f***ing idiots. So what a great way to just completely ruin your life for basically zero upside. This was definitely way worse than the door-breaching TikTok trend that we covered earlier, where teenagers essentially replaced the ding-dong ditch trend with running up and jump kicking a random person's door before running off. You know, great things are really coming out of these TikTok trends. Another trend that's also apparently going viral is there's apparently a Superman trend that schools are warning parents about. I can't play the music in this video for copyright reasons, but they say Superman. So the trend is essentially you do a Superman into people's arms, and kids being kids are not catching each other, leaving people with injuries because they just Superman and land on the ground on their stomach. There's not a lot of examples about it, but I did see a couple news articles saying that schools are issuing warnings to parents about this. But this is harmless compared to what we just covered over here. So, safe to say running into a cafeteria, pretending to have a weapon and screaming, "Everybody on the ground," can't even be compared with that. Please don't do a stupid trend like this. Don't do any TikTok trends without thoroughly thinking through what you're actually doing here. Put in the 5 seconds of, are there criminal repercussions if I do this? That'll save you a lot. But YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video. And hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe or you might not see me again, but hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Peace.